Hi, my name is Derek Rabelo. I'm from Guarapari, Brazil, and my life was the inspiration for the movie Beyond Sight. It's about my quest to surf pipeline. It's the most dangerous waves in the world on Oahu, North Shore, Hawaii. Being blind is definitely a challenge, but didn't stop me to chasing my dream. I found that I had everything that I needed in myself, so I don't need anything else. So don't let whatever struggles you are facing stop you from achieving your dream. I'm inviting you to watch, listen, and think about these stories, and please stop before you start.
I remember sitting in a prison cell and looking in my life and what was happening, and the only thing left was drugs. Everything else was gone.
I mean, it got to the point where people would lie so I wouldn't come around anymore.
They had to watch me in a coma. They had to, wait to hear if I was going to have brain damage, if I was going to even wake up myself again, or if they were going to have to, take care of me for the rest of my life.
When I'm drinking, I don't care about anything else. When I'm smoking weed, that's all I want to do. I don't care about any of it. All I care about is me.
I started using marijuana when I was 13 or 14 years old.
I started using drugs and alcohol at 14.
My first drink was 9.
I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol at age 14.
I was 15 and a half when I started using marijuana.
When I first started using, I was about 14 years old.
I started drinking at 14 and using drugs shortly thereafter.
I was 14 when I started using drugs and alcohol.
I was 13.
I smoked marijuana for my first time when I was 12 years old.
I started smoking at 11.
I started using drugs and drinking probably when I was about 5 or 6 years old.
It went from just like partying with my friends in my spare time to taking up all my time. All my interests fell to the wayside, and I was spending all day, every day, just getting high.
Drinking was really taking over control. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to be home. I wanted to go to work every day. Those were my intentions. And I'd gotten to the place where the intentions didn't matter.
It was completely unpredictable if I was going to be on an upper and happy and steal something from you eventually, or a downer, throwing up all over your house and, getting in trouble, getting drunk in public. No one knew. It was completely unpredictable hanging out with me. So I lost all my friends. I mean, I did horrible, horrible things to them.
In school, I started to struggle a little bit, not just with the curriculum, but with my discipline. Then I was, my behavior was changing, and I was cocky, and I was, obnoxious, and I was rude and disrespectful, and I wasn't that person prior.
You've got this dream, you want to do something. It's like, well, what are we doing here? Because what happened to me, I got derailed. Drugs and alcohol derail that quick. Just knocks that just takes that out. You might as well take whatever you want to do and go put over there, because you ain't doing it. That's done. You're going this way now. This is your choice. This is what's happening.
I would get to school in the morning and my skin would be crawling. I feel like everybody's staring at me. I just couldn't handle it and would have to leave.
I never saw in a million years me going to jail, going to treatment center after treatment center, burning bridges, being tens of thousands of dollars in debt, selling my soul, just completely losing myself, associating myself with just people that I never thought I'd be around. I never saw this coming in my life. It took me for the wildest ride I could have ever imagined.
I've watched my mom for 20 years of my life suffer and be high, and she didn't know how to not be high anymore. And I think that was a scary thing. She became the drug. This girl that just started off just partying and having a good time, she's now the drug.
I signed the papers, and I gave my daughter away. Because if I paid child support, I couldn't drink. and get loaded.
I couldn't even stay out of prison for longer than a few months at a time, and it took everything from me.
I feel like it was a nervous breakdown. I was in the hospital 3 times in a week, and they had to put me on antidepressant and anti-anxiety meds, and it was a good year and a half of just struggling day to day, minute to minute.
When I'd go to visit my mom, she would take her purse to the bathroom because she knows if she left it, I'd take what was in it.
I don't remember even leaving my room that morning. I remember waking up that morning, and I remember like getting high with my roommate, and the next thing I know, I woke up in the hospital, and it was almost a month later, and I was just in searing pain.
I was 14 years old. By 14 and a half, I am smoking Quaaludes, trying to sprinkle cocaine on top of weed, and breaking into houses. In a 6-month period, every moral and belief that I held near and dear was gone.
2 days later, he overdosed and died. And everyone blamed me because I was the one who gave him heroin his first time. The guilt from that kept me on drugs for a really long time. I didn't want to look myself in the mirror.
I come from an upper middle class family. I went to good schools. I had everything I needed.
Grew up in a family that there was a lot of strife. My father, alcoholic tendencies. My mother, a lot of arguments back and forth.
I was the kid at school that got teased a lot, that had used clothes and old shoes.
Our stepmother was very verbally, emotionally abusive to us. She was physically abusive to her own child. And my father was not around.
I hated school. I never had friends. I don't remember ever feeling comfortable. I never liked who I was. I always wanted to be somebody different.
I grew up in a good family, a wealthy family.
My parents loved me. You know, it was a normal, fabulous family. My sister was great.
My mom was stressed. We wound up going on welfare. There wasn't a lot of stability.
And I grew up, good parents, nice house, had lots of money.
You know, we were, middle class. Parents took me to church every Sunday. I was a Boy Scout.
So for me, I always felt that I wasn't priority, and I didn't feel as if I belonged. I didn't feel the love.
I felt that if I had your parents or your house, or I lived somewhere else, or if I wasn't at this school, that I'd be different, I'd be okay. So I did everything I could to escape to those places.
I've never met my dad. My mom's a blackout drinker. My mom got pregnant in a blackout.
There wasn't hugs at the house. There wasn't like a lot of love at the house. I don't even remember my parents ever even like touching me.
I didn't really find my place, and I felt very a low sense of self-esteem, and I was trying to figure out where my place was in high school.
We moved around a lot, and I was always the new kid. I went to 5 elementary schools, 5 high schools, and I always felt like I was trying to fit in or be a part of, and I always just felt different, uncomfortable in my own skin.
I started hanging out with the cool kids and trying to be like them, and what they did was drink, and they partied, and they had sex, and we were in middle school, and I wanted to conform, basically, to be like those people were.
I started always looking at the older kids and the older people in my family, and they were drinking and seemed to be having a good time with life, and I wasn't.
The peer pressure today is much more dangerous. I say that when I was a kid 40 years ago, the peer pressure might have been to drink beer. Today, the peer pressure is to try methamphetamine or heroin, to snort it or smoke it. I think we cannot underestimate the power of peer pressure. Young people have time on their hands. I think boredom is something that leads to party-type environment.
Alcohol, drugs, these were things to help me fill that hole of being accepted, fill that hole of belonging, feeling loved, feeling like I had a place to matter in the world.
I grew up in a neighborhood where my mom was half white and quarter Indian, quarter black, and I didn't know where I fit in.
I think I had no sense of belonging. I think that I didn't care whether I lived or died because I was so lost.
I was adopted and given away, and my identity was hidden from me for 17 years. What was missing was this feeling of family, this feeling of community, this feeling of being loved.
I had never thought that not using drugs was an option. I just automatically assumed that for the rest of my life that I would use drugs. My friends used drugs, my family used drugs, and it was just a part of everyone's life. And I wondered if, like everyone else that I saw, like at the grocery store, if they were all using drugs too. You know, I thought that like some people were just better at hiding it than other people.
My father was a drinker and verbally abusive to my mom. And I didn't have any outlet to talk about that. I was afraid that if I said anything at school or to a teacher or a friend or their parents that like they would split my family apart. Like I didn't want that. I didn't want to rock the boat. I was always walking on eggshells. I could never communicate or have an outlet for me to speak how I felt, and I bottled that up inside for years.
I just wanted to be accepted. I just wanted to feel normal. I just wanted to be liked.
I didn't allow myself to solve the problems by doing the work. I chose to take the shortcut and use something that gave me the instant gratification of feeling better rather than actually putting in the work to realize that feeling better needed to come from within me and not outside sources.
Life is very difficult for teens. Some of the surveys recently have shown that the level of anxiety that teens experience today is similar to that of the psychiatric patients of the 1950s. So teenagers are experiencing a lot of distress. School's difficult. There's a lot of testing. There's cyberbullying. There's a lot of things that make life more difficult for them now than maybe it was in the past. So they're self-medicating to feel less distress or emotional discomfort.
My mom at 17, she told me, you can either be here and be sober or you can go out there and get loaded. And I made a decision at that time that I would rather go get loaded. And I left my house at 17, and I would be homeless from the age of 17 till I got sober at 27 years old.
I wasn't interested in it, and one day, I guess a few kids from the neighborhood talked me into doing it. They actually told me to stop being a punk and that I was probably the dorkiest person they knew, and that if I didn't smoke with them, that there was no way I was ever gonna fit in with the group.
It started with just marijuana and alcohol like most other people, and slowly but surely I graduated to harder drugs, one stepping stone to the other.
When I started, it was just, I'm just experimenting, I'm just having fun. We'll see how this feels. I'm very curious. But I mean, after one time, I was done for. It had me.
Saw someone that I had a lot of love for and respect for doing that drug, and to make them feel less uncomfortable, I did it. Started doing that because I wanted people to think I was hard, I was tough, I was something that I wasn't.
And I remember looking at my mom square in the eyes that day, walking out of my house at midnight. And I looked at my mom and I said, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to ruin your life. And I watched my mom's heart break right at that moment. And I left her there to wonder where I was and if I was alive or if I was dead.
I had this desire to kind of be edgy. I had always been drawn to that punk rock scene, and so that overlap with wanting to belong, overlap with seeing my dad's history of substances, and all just kind of drove me to check that out. And as I checked it out, I fell deeper and deeper into that hole.
I believed that it was just gonna be a one-time thing. I was just a little curious, you know, nothing really that big. But the truth of the matter is when I took that first hit and it changed the way I felt about myself, it opened up my mind to questioning other certain things that had been in my mind, like, if marijuana's not that bad, then maybe this isn't as bad. And oh, if those two things aren't so bad, and so on and so forth, to the point where I do ecstasy one week, like a couple months after I smoke weed, and then what other pills can you get? What other kind of stuff can you get? What kind of psychedelics do you have? Oh, you want to try some opiate? And it goes crazy. And for me at least, I gradually went into this thing as an innocent little kid, just expecting like, oh, I'm just gonna like have a little fun, like let's smoke a joint, you know? But years later, the matter of the fact is that the only reason I would get out of bed in the morning was just to get it fixed.
That one choice that Jared made at the start was so destructive. It led down such a horrible path for him, and it just progressed. It progressed and progressed until he lost his life. And it was preventable.
Think that you're going to be able to handle it because the initial high, the initial experience is innocent, it's fun, it's gradual. But I guarantee you, you will see it will escalate to something that you never saw possible.
Definitely when I started using, like I said, I thought nothing bad would happen to me and that I could just pick it up and put it down and that would just kind of be a once in every while thing. And I think what it started out was recreational using. And then that turned into me completely getting dependent on drugs to survive, to live, to get up in the morning. It's not just pick it up once and you're over it type of thing. The drug starts to control you, your body, your thinking. It consumes you, all of you.
At first, I think drug use gave me there was an illusion of manageability. Because the consequences and the effects of it weren't showing up in my life yet.
And I chased that first night, that one night of one drink of feeling okay. I chased it for 15 years. And it never reappeared.
No matter what I thought that I could, stop whenever I wanted, it's not true. It never was. It's an illusion of the mind. And I took one line, one bump, one drink, and those things just took me to very bad places.
God, it's such a veil of false courage and fake confidence, and it's nothing like the feeling you can get from within.
If anything, I thought I was invincible when I was younger. I thought I was invincible and that nothing bad could happen to me, that I wouldn't get hooked on drugs, I wouldn't shoot drugs, I wouldn't use needles, I wouldn't smoke cigarettes, I wouldn't do any of those things, and then every single one of those things happened to me successively after I started using.
So being sober, sitting in a room sober, knowing the consequences, to think that I can get away with it next time, and next time it's going to be different. Right? My friend OD'd and died. I said, I'm not going to drink or use. That was at 6 o'clock. By 9 o'clock that night, all of a sudden I had a thought that said, it really wasn't that bad. I'm not gonna do heroin, but it's okay if I drink. My friend just died, and I have the thought that says that drugs and alcohol aren't gonna hurt me. I'm different from my friend James who died. I'm different from my friend Rita who died. I'm different from my friend Danielle who OD'd and died. right? My case is different. I'm not different. I'm just like James. I'm just like Danielle. I'm just like Rita. I'm just like Kelly, who passed away last week.
My stepdad was getting high, and he went crazy, and he beat my mom to death with the ash poker from a fireplace. And then he shot himself in the head. And I was outside the house when he killed himself, and I just remember hearing the gunshots.
So she said, "Do you want to go to rehab?" And it just fell out of my mouth. I don't want to die. Never in my life had I equated drinking and using with dying.
I hit an emotional bottom. I blacked out, and I woke up at my mom's house. She put her hand on the door to leave, and I swear a million thoughts rushed through my mind. Like, if she leaves right now, I'm gonna have to get up, do the rest of the dope I have. I'm gonna have to try to call someone, figure something out, rob someone so that I can go get more so I don't throw up and get sick.
By the end, what had happened was that I would start to prostitute myself as a straight man in order to get drugs in my body. And I came to, on October 23rd, 2002 in a motel with a guy. I had no clue who he was, but I knew what I had done the night before in order to get drugs. And I came to with a tremendous amount of shame and guilt, remorse, fear. I was alone.
I drove down the street because I knew that if I went there, they were going to take me to jail. And I pulled over at the side of the street to try to figure out what I was doing. And I just came to like a moment of clarity where I knew there was nowhere else to go or nothing else to do. And I turned around and I drove back up to the house and turned myself in.
He looked at me and said, "I can no longer have a hand in your death." And it was just something about that day. The way that he said it to me, I broke. I just said, "Okay, I need help." And it was the single greatest sentence I've ever said.
As I was getting out of jail, and I just decided enough's enough. Like, I'm so tired of being pushed back and being that guy and being a slave to these drugs. Like, I just was thinking about my family and all the bridges that I had burned and all the opportunities for this high. Like, all the money I'd spend, all the things that I did just to maintain this lifestyle. And I realized this isn't real. This euphoria is not real.
I was so run down, like physically run down, that I don't really know if I had the strength to be able to keep going or if I just would have done another shot and died. Like, it came out as a scream. I said, "Stop." And she stopped and turned around. I said, "I need help." I wanted help. I wanted to be done. I couldn't run anymore.
There were people that cared more about me than I cared about myself, obviously. And I really believe that made a difference. It's one of the reasons I feel like doing this documentary is so important, because maybe, even if it saves one person, right?
Knowing what I know today and looking back at my life then, the thing that I would have done different is that I would have faced my fear a little bit, just to let another human being know what was going on the inside.
You're enough. You don't need people to tell you that you're enough. You don't need acceptance to be okay as Jordan. And I think I would also tell myself, surround yourself with the friends who are going to push you towards the stuff that you're most passionate about. Because I think I had to make so many compromises about the stuff that was most important to me in order to find that belonging that I was looking for, just because they were the first people to offer it to me.
Stop looking at the external on how you measure up your life. Don't be fooled by the illusion that it won't hurt you.
And I couldn't go to them and say, I'm feeling insecure and I don't know what to do. I'm afraid. And what I would tell myself if I could go back into that period of time is, it's okay. It's okay. Just talk. Just talk. Don't worry about what others think. Just find someone, find anybody that you can get connected to that will help you.
I would tell myself that this is a temporary solution, and it's hell to get out of. Hell to get out of.
It seems rough right now, and I know, but it's definitely going to get better. There are people like you. There are other people that worry about what someone thinks they look like or what they feel or how they act or how good they are at something. But, you know, you need to just look in the mirror and realize you're good enough for yourself. That's all that matters.
I wish I'd known that just all that anxiety and all the difficulty in communicating with people, I could have learned different ways of dealing with it. I wish I'd known that, like, my personality type was more prone to getting stuck on using a substance to take away those feelings that I couldn't talk about. And what I've learned now is that I can talk about these things very openly with people who understand, and it's fine, and those anxieties go away. Something about just putting it out there makes everything so much smaller.
The years of my youth, I was in such a hurry to grow up and be an adult that I wanted to do adult things with a child mind. And I didn't want to take the time. I would tell Jim to be patient. I would tell Jim it's going to turn out okay. Because in 2 years or 3 years, these people that I am looking to, fancied or real, to direct how I live my life or how I think or feel, they're going to be gone anyway.
It's not what you see in the movies. It's you alone in your apartment with the lights off, the TV dimmed, you know, crying while you do drugs because you don't understand why you have to keep doing them.
See, they don't tell you when you take the lid off a bottle or you pop a pill in your mouth that you're about to alter the course of your entire life.
If I would have known now, at that moment, I would have been open and honest about my feelings. I would have been open and honest about my perception to how I saw my life at the time. I'd have been open and honest about the struggles that I had.
I didn't have anyone that I trusted with telling them the information about what had happened to me or about how I was feeling. I think that the solution is being connected.
And so if I were to go back, I'd say be more picky with who you let accept you. Lots of people are going to accept you, but they are going to hold you back from the stuff that you want to really get after in life. The stuff that's most important to you, your convictions, your beliefs, your passions. Find the people who are going to help point you towards that stuff, and be picky until you find those people.
Focusing on sports and realizing that school and grades do matter. They are going to affect my future. It's not just like, okay, I just got to get through this.
If I could go back, I would tell myself to take care of me regardless of what you think of me. Because I'm important and I'm worth it.
I'd have been honest about that I tried alcohol. I'd have been honest, hey Mom, I've tried marijuana. I would have, if I had known different, I would have spoken up about my life.
I just remember that first time sitting in a jail cell, just wondering what happened. Like, how did I end up here? Like, I'm from a good family, and, you know, I'm an A student, and now I'm sitting in a jail cell. That's somewhere where I never thought that I would be.
The bottom line is you never know what's going to happen. And that's what's so terrifying. That you can be somebody that has a drink, puts it down, or you can be somebody that has a drink and it takes you. And then you can't put it down. And no matter how hard you try to put it down, you can't stop. No matter what you want, what you care for, whatever, gone.
Because I know that I'm here for a purpose, and I have things to do in this life, and I actually care about myself and my family and those around me today. I'm not willing to trade my life today for the first drink, but I know that if I had that first drink, I would trade my life for the second.
My parents were the biggest thing. No matter how long I stay clean, I'll never have them back. And I'll never have back the last few years that they were alive that I spent in a jail cell away from them.
But a lot of times, we're not willing to be uncomfortable even for a small amount of time. Even, hey, I'm uncomfortable and I'm just gonna be uncomfortable. No. Hey, I'm uncomfortable and I've gotta do something about it. I gotta feel better. I gotta get a new toy. I've gotta do this. I've gotta do that. So we're not willing to be uncomfortable. And what happens is we get used to satisfying that comfort, satisfying it. And then what's even more frightening when you're looking at this illness is sometimes people get hurt and they still don't wake up. They blame everyone else.
One big thing that's out there that kids are dealing with now more than anything is social media, and always seeing this kind of fake happiness that other kids are having. And people post pictures, they post things, and it always makes you feel like you're just not measuring up, you're not having fun. And it's also, I think, very lonely.
So I think it's just educating the younger community and the older community how to bridge that gap so that everyone's communicating about the truth about drugs and alcohol, not the glamour and the glitz and the facade.
Is drugs and alcohol the problem? Or is it the uncomfortability that I feel that I put drugs in my body and then I feel okay? So ultimately, I have a thinking problem.
I'll always be a convict now. I'm a felon. That's gonna follow me around. Although I've been clean for almost 3 years, I still don't have a driver's license. I can't even get myself to the grocery store,
And it's hard sometimes with younger people. You want to tell them, hey, look, this is the path, this is where you're going, whatever. But sometimes what's frightening is that's not easy to believe. Sometimes you'll think, oh, not me, not this, not that, and that's what's scary. Because a lot of times the people that think not me, not this, not that, are the ones where it is them. It is that. And it does happen.
Teens start using drugs to feel less distress emotionally and to connect with people, but when they use drugs, the opposite happens. They end up creating a world of more distress and they become more isolated from others. The very things that they're trying to correct, their life becomes more distressful.
Whatever problems you're feeling inside, whatever hurt and pain you're going through, numbing it with external sources is not the solution, because what you really need is relief, and you can find that relief through communicating with others, through unconditional love, through helping other people as well as helping yourself, and growing as a person rather than stunting your growth and using whatever substance you choose to use, thinking that's gonna heal what's going on inside of you, but all it really does is it just puts it off. And when it puts it off, it gets that much harder to deal with at the end of the road, because it will end for you, whether it's death, whether it's handcuffs, whether it's a hospital. It'll end one day.
What I want is to feel comfortable. What I want is to feel better. So then you think to yourself, well, how do you feel better? By reaching out to a friend, by sticking a hand out, by being of service to somebody, by getting involved in something artistically, getting involved in sports, doing this stuff. Those are the things that give us comfort. Those are the things that give us lasting comfort. Connection to a power, whatever your beliefs may be, that's real comfort, not synthetic comfort that doesn't work.
Even on my worst day, I think I can't get through this, I can't do this, I'm alone, I'm terrified, what's gonna happen? You wake up tomorrow and the feelings are different. They change. Feelings are always changing. And when at my darkest moment, I really thought that I felt very hopeless and that these feelings aren't gonna change. And I wish I had just sat one more day, 6 more hours, 12 more hours, so that I would have remembered what I told my younger self, which was that the feelings are gonna change. It's gonna pass, this too's gonna pass. instead of feeling like I had no other option but to take a drink.
The only thing that I can share is my story, and I hope that it can show somebody younger than me that using drugs is not the right thing to do, because you can't really tell someone how to live their life. All I can do is show them what drugs did to mine.
Think about your future. It's not worth it. Stop before you start.
My name is Danny Murphy. I'm the founder of Stop Before You Start. Thank you for watching our movie. I was inspired to make this documentary due to my own struggles with abuse, my successful decades of recovery, and my passion and love for people. You've just heard stories of many bold, courageous people who open up their lives, exposing bad decisions, horrifying results, and the power they found within themselves to regain control and purpose. You've also heard what they would have done differently if they only knew what they know now. Our hope is that you'll take these stories to heart. Be aware of what's really going on out there and take action to help those in need. If you're considering using drugs or alcohol, please stop before you start. If you're already using drugs and alcohol, you've just witnessed what your road may look like. We encourage you to reach out to us for help. And if you want to get behind this movement to help our youth in making the right decisions, contact us. I look forward to you being a part of our passion and to help stop before you start.
We are the future. Please protect us. Stop before you start.